In 1865, after the Civil War ended, the United States faced the challenge of rebuilding a divided nation and expanding westward. In 1866, Congress passed the Army Organization Act, which allowed African American men to serve in the peacetime army for the first time. This led to the creation of 6 all-black regiments: the 9th and 10th Cavalry and the 38th, 39th, 40th, 41st Infantry, later reorganized into the 24th and 25th Infantry. These soldiers became known as the Buffalo Soldiers. The name was given to them by the Native American tribes they encountered on the Great Plains. There are a couple of theories about the origin of the name. One suggests that the Native Americans saw a resemblance between the soldiers' dark, curly hair and the shaggy coat of the buffalo. Another theory is that it was a tribute to their fierce fighting spirit, akin to the sacred buffalo. Regardless of the exact reason, the name was a sign of respect, and the Buffalo Soldiers accepted it with pride. Life wasn't easy for the Buffalo Soldiers. Stationed in remote outposts across the vast American West, they faced environments that tested their limits, from the scorching deserts of Arizona to the freezing winters of the Rocky Mountains. Supplies were often scarce, and they had to make do with outdated equipment and inadequate provisions. Their uniforms were sometimes tattered, and their boots worn thin. Their duties were as tough as the land they patrolled. They protected settlers moving west, escorted wagon trains, and guarded stagecoaches carrying valuable cargo. They built forts, roads, and telegraph lines, connecting distant parts of the country. They also delivered mail, a lifeline for people isolated in the wilderness, and kept the peace in lawless territories. On top of all that, they engaged in numerous battles against Native American tribes who were fiercely defending their homelands from encroachment. The Buffalo Soldiers found themselves in a complex position, fighting against people who, like them, were struggling against oppression and displacement. Despite these challenges, the Buffalo Soldiers earned a reputation for their discipline, bravery, and remarkable survival skills. They became some of the most effective troops on the frontier, often assigned the most difficult tasks because their commanders knew they would get the job done. While battling external enemies, the Buffalo Soldiers also faced prejudice and discrimination from within their own country, and even within the army they served. Racism was widespread, and they were often treated unfairly by white settlers, fellow soldiers, and commanding officers. They were given the most dangerous assignments and were frequently stationed in the most undesirable locations. Promotions were hard to come by, and their heroic deeds were often overlooked or attributed to others in official reports in the press. They endured insults, unequal pay, and poor living conditions compared to their white counterparts. In some towns, they were not allowed to enter certain establishments or were subjected to unjust laws. Even so, the Buffalo Soldiers remained dedicated to their duties. Their commitment and professionalism challenged the negative stereotypes of the time. They stood as a testament to courage and integrity, maintaining high morale and unit cohesion despite the injustices they faced. The Buffalo Soldiers participated in many significant battles and campaigns that shaped the history of the American West. They played key roles in the Indian Wars from the 1870s to the 1890s, including engagements with the Cheyenne, Apache, Kiowa, and Comanche tribes. One notable event was the Battle of Milk Creek in 1879, where the 9th Cavalry provided crucial support to besieged troops during a fierce fight with the Ute tribe. Their timely arrival and courageous actions helped prevent a total defeat. Several Buffalo Soldiers received the Medal of Honor, the highest military award for valor in the United States. Sergeant Emmanuel Stantz was the first African American to receive the Medal of Honor after the Civil War, honored for his courage during a skirmish with Apache warriors in 1870. Another hero, Corporal William Wilson, received the Medal for Bravery in Action in the New Mexico Territory in 1874. They didn't just fight on the frontier. The Buffalo Soldiers also served in the Spanish-American War in 1898, fighting in Cuba alongside Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. In the Battle of San Juan Hill, they were instrumental in capturing key positions, displaying extraordinary bravery under heavy fire. In the early 1900s, they served in the Philippines during the Philippine-American War, helping to suppress insurrection and maintain order. They also worked as some of the first park rangers in the newly established national parks like Yosemite and Sequoia, protecting the land from poachers and wildfires, and building trails and infrastructure that visitors still use today. Beyond the battles and campaigns, the personal stories of the Buffalo Soldiers highlight their individual acts of heroism and humanity. Take, for example, Lieutenant Henry O. Flipper, the first African-American graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point in 1877. Despite facing isolation and racism at the academy, he persevered and went on to serve with distinction in the 10th Cavalry. Though he faced unjust accusations and was wrongfully dismissed from the Army, his fight for justice continued throughout his life, and he was posthumously exonerated and honored. Another inspiring figure is Cathay Williams, the only known female Buffalo Soldier. Disguised as a man, she enlisted in the 38th Infantry in 1866 under the name William Cathay. She served for 2 years before her true identity was discovered and she was discharged. Her story is a remarkable example of determination and the desire to serve, despite the barriers faced by women at the time. The Buffalo Soldiers paved the way for future generations of African Americans in the military. Their dedication and professionalism challenged the entrenched prejudices of the era, slowly changing attitudes about race in America. They proved that courage and skill know no color, and their service laid the groundwork for the eventual integration of the U.S. Armed Forces. Their cultural impact is significant as well. The Buffalo Soldiers became part of the legend of the Wild West, embodying the spirit of adventure, resilience, and the pursuit of a better life. Their stories have been told in books, songs, and films. Notably, musician Bob Marley honored them in his song, Buffalo Soldier, bringing their story to a global audience and highlighting their fight for survival and recognition. In 1948, President Harry S. Truman signed Executive Order 9981, which began the process of desegregating the armed forces. The courage and professionalism of the Buffalo Soldiers played a crucial role in demonstrating the value of integrated units. Today, monuments, museums, and historical sites across the country honor the legacy of the Buffalo Soldiers. Fort Leavenworth in Kansas houses the Buffalo Soldier Monument, dedicated in 1992 to commemorate their service. The National Buffalo Soldiers Museum in Houston, Texas, educates the public about their contributions and preserves artifacts and stories from their history. Educational programs and reenactments keep their memory alive, teaching new generations about these unsung heroes. Their legacy continues to inspire those who fight for equality and justice, reminding us of the sacrifices made to build the nation we know today. The Buffalo Soldiers contributed to the nation in many ways beyond fighting. They served as some of the first national park rangers in places like Yosemite and Sequoia, building roads, fighting wildfires, and protecting wildlife. They constructed vital infrastructure across the West, including forts, roads, and telegraph lines, helping to connect and develop new towns. In their communities, they became respected figures, assisting local law enforcement and providing aid during emergencies. Many were talented athletes who excelled in boxing, horse riding, and track events, showcasing their skills in breaking down racial barriers. Their stories also inspired music, art, and literature, leaving a lasting cultural impact on American history. The tale of the Buffalo Soldiers is one of courage, perseverance, and unyielding spirit. They stood tall in the face of danger and discrimination, making significant contributions to the country's expansion and security. Their service went beyond the call of duty, breaking down racial barriers and setting the stage for future advancements in civil rights. Remembering the Buffalo Soldiers isn't just about honoring the past, it's about finding inspiration for the present and future. Their legacy teaches us that no matter the obstacles, bravery and determination can lead to extraordinary achievements. They are true American heroes whose stories continue to inspire us all. By learning about the Buffalo Soldiers, we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of American history and the individuals who shaped it. Their experiences remind us that history is made by people who dare to stand against adversity, who strive for excellence despite the odds, and who believe in a better future for all.